The biggest gun smuggling ring that we have worked on, myself personally, as well as that I'm aware of with ATF at this point, was back in 2005 when this was taken down. But it was basically a gun trafficking organization that was bringing guns up from northern Kentucky, southern Ohio, up into Detroit via up through the bridge or the tunnel over into Windsor. Basically, it started with a traffic stop with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. They pulled a car over with out-of-state tags for a traffic violation, did a subsequent search of that vehicle, and located 16 handguns with obliterated serial numbers. At that point, they contacted me, ATF, in the Ann Arbor office. Myself and my partner went down and conducted interviews with those individuals. We ascertained a lot of information about the organization, what they were doing, bringing guns up and into Canada and exchanging those guns for drugs that were being brought back down to the Cincinnati area and being sold. So we identified multiple individuals in this organization, and also through that investigation we identified the main target, basically the head of the organization, and he was living in Ontario, Toronto, the Ontario province at that time, and his name was Ricardo Tolliver. I contacted a gentleman that I'd met previously through ATF in a firearms trafficking school, Steve Horwood, with the Toronto Police Department, and he was also assigned to the Provincial Weapons Enforcement Unit. So once we identified, I just had the first name and a phone number from that initial interview of the individuals that were arrested in Monroe County, Michigan. I knew a first name of Rick, and I had a phone number. I contacted Steve Horwood that evening and gave Steve the name. I told him the story of them bringing guns up and exchanging them for drugs and where they were located, and I gave him the name, and I started reading off the phone number, and Steve finished the phone number. And so it literally just clicked. Everything came together. They were like, nope, that's Ricardo Tolliver. We are aware of him. We know he's bringing guns up from Cincinnati. This whole group was from that northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area, so there was no coincidence that it was, so tied closely together. We knew that it had to be part of that same organization and that they were bringing guns up.
How much of a problem are guns and drugs?
It's a huge problem. I think that guns and drugs go hand in hand. Here in the United States, the drugs and guns, obviously, when they're brought together, cause a lot of violence. A lot of people get hurt, a lot of homicides. That's something that we deal with here in the Detroit Division on a daily basis throughout the entire state of Michigan, and it's a huge problem. So, and it's not legal gun ownership. It's the individuals who are prohibited. It's these drug dealers, gang members, things like that. They have that huge need for protecting their drug trades, and they have the guns. And then plus too, with the economy the way it is, I mean, people don't have money. I mean, you've seen a rise in armed robberies and bank robberies, things. Guns are at the crux of all of that. I mean, it's such a tool that all of these bad guys use, and unfortunately that's our nature of things right now. So that's what we are charged with federally here in the United States, but also obviously with this case you see the ramifications that it not only here, but it spills over into Canada or Mexico, and we've had our issues, and so we're trying to address those and help any way we can.